Hello and welcome to the ASUS ROG DreamLeague live here from the DreamHack at Monster Energy Studios in Stockholm. And tonight is a night filled with Dota 2 adventures. We're going to look at Finum a lot because they are going to play a series against Vega Squadron and then a series against Team Liquid. And we are all here to guide you through all the action. And of course, let me introduce you to the gentleman on my left. There you go. It is, first of all, Gods. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful.
Yeah.
It's been a good, slow day, but now I feel like things are about to get a bit more fun. We're here at the studio, so it should be good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still waking up.
Slow day today.
Ooh, it's still slow.
Are we getting a little bit more energy now? How do you Pixel?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
You're drinking the energy as well.
He's got the right idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, just...
Why? What is it with Thursdays, Fogs?
I'm awake. I'm good.
You're good.
Ready to go.
But you also skipped today, so maybe that's
got double the energy.
Yeah. Double the energy. That's what we like to hear. So today there has been some developments in Dota 2 that I want to talk to you about. And main thing is, well, one step first. Execration invited team to the Boston Major. There was obviously the announcement from Valve that you can now have a substitute on your roster. That can be anybody that's not going to Boston. Doesn't matter if he was already pre-registered to a team. Can be anybody. So it's 3-4-3 that Execration registered.
So you could bring in like Miracle, Puppy, whoever, be like, these guys
are
with us.
You could bring, any high MMR player if you want, as long as he's not playing at Boston. You can bring anybody in.
So teams can't like switch for players though. Can't be like, hey, I want Miracle. Do you want this guy? It's like, okay, yeah, sure, first trade.
No, it's you can take someone with you that is not registered to your team beforehand. And the tricky part with Execration is that they had, well, let's get 3-4-3 in as a substitute. That's great. And then let's put Rappy, who was the invited player from Execration to the Boston Major. Let's put him as substitute and let's put 3-4-3 in the main roster. And I think that's where the most controversial thing lies.
So
what do you think about that?
Is 3-4-3 playing at the Major then, do we know?
Yes.
No, that's what it is.
That's what he's going to, yeah,
he's
on
That's the thing.
That's the whole
He's on
Valve have
now.
got this rule now. Yeah, it's just saying, so you go into the Major, you can now add a substitute. You can have one substitute player, and you can switch anyone from your main roster out for the substitute, whether you're a team that's qualified, whether you're a team like Execration that's invited, which obviously opens up a whole kind of bucket of nightmares in terms of the whole, looking back, was it TI3 with the error situation? That was TI3.
That was TI4.
That was TI4. We had, and obviously that was when they were kind of like, well, errors early, you can't do it. But there was obviously a thing coming out. The error did want to go. It was all kind of really dodgy.
The player has to agree to it though, and even now it sounds like the player still has to agree to it. Like
that's true, but that rule in itself is a little bit weak because if your team's saying we don't want to play with you, want to play with you, like you're not going to sit there and go, no, I want to play. Because then it's just going to be a horrible situation. So, I don't know.
There was a similar thing with Fnatic and Ned as well, leading up to last TI, I believe, where to prevent them going through like open qualifiers.
That was also with 3-4-3.
Yeah, that was also with 3-4-3.
Yeah.
He's a dream killer.
He's the SCA Bulba. He's just assassinating teams, Team assassin.
Well, he does it the other way around. He's like, okay, you qualified. I want to be with you guys.
It is because they've not had this at obviously the more recent previous Valve events where you could just now add a sub and put him in as part of the main roster just like that. Like before, obviously you had a sub, but you couldn't just swap players in and out willy-nilly. You actually had to have a reason for one of the main players not being able to play.
I thought initially that's what it meant when I saw the thing that they added. I thought it was like, okay, the guy's like sick.
So I don't know what it feels like. They're even encouraging. They're like, you can swap your substitute in as a player. Why would they want to? Because before it was the whole thing where Valve didn't invite teams or organizations. They invited the players. They invited those 5 players to come and play at their event. Now they're saying, yeah, we invited you 5, but if you guys want to invite anyone and then put them in instead, be our guest, which just seems a little bit weird. Obviously, there are the pluses. Maybe we don't know. Maybe Rappy had legitimate reasons why he couldn't play, or he didn't want to play, or something.
I feel like if those were there,
unlikely.
Fnatic would have, Execration would have put that forward. I'm confused.
That's true. You would have thought if it is innocent like that, they would have said, "Look, this is why it was changing." Which
hey,
I might be. I've not seen that. Maybe they have, but at least it's not come up on my feed or something.
It's definitely strange to me because it's just never been allowed before. I think the whole idea that you can change your roster outside of the roster locks, or like add in the players a sub outside the roster locks. That I'm okay with that. I'm just Not sure how it works as far as changing your roster after being invited to a major. Because
Yeah,
I
that's the big
remember
thing.
That's
looking at TI specifically, Valve were always adamant. You want to change one player, your invite's gone. Because
Yeah.
I think it was like TI2 or TI3. I remember like there was like more than half the teams who wanted to change their roster after getting invited. And Valve was just like, they said no to every single one of them. They're like, no. If you can. If you say, we're not playing with this 5-man roster and we're playing with this, you lose your invite.
I'm
Absolutely.
actually,
Invite
I'm
loss.
sure that Melk would have a lot to say about this this topic as well. We can get him in.
I do.
Why not?
I
do.
Hello.
Whoa.
Hey guys.
Hello.
You can be closer to Sheeper.
Look at that.
Okay,
Easy.
There we go.
I'm sorry.
How's it going, man?
There you go. It's good. Well, I also have an announcement to make. No, I don't. I'm just I'm sporting the EG jersey today. Sumail had a rough day at the office yesterday when they played against Complexity, and I got my boy covered. I also got other stuff covered. Conflict of interest.
I like the orange tape's nice, yeah.
So with the whole substitute thing.
Yeah, what's up with
Okay.
that?
I'll move over.
I don't know, it's just my microphone
You good? Okay.
getting a bit tight.
You sure?
I think first of all, I think the rule is better this way. I think it's better
You
that
like
they that they open up to teams supplying the roster that they feel is the best for the major. I always thought it should be like that. I thought the ruling on error was wrong to begin with. I thought that should be up to Fnatic to decide back then. But at the same time, I think it needs even further specification, because right now I'm not even sure, can they then replace Rabbi as a substitute
No.
and then take in another guy?
You can
Bring in
only
Puppy
add,
and
Yeah,
go
then
see
you-
Puppy at the major.
Yeah, exactly.
you can only add one substitute player.
Throughout the entire duration.
And once,
Yeah, before
once
the
you've
major.
added, you can't remove him.
That's not special, but it says you can only add
Yeah,
one
but
substitute
what if
player.
you can remove him? If you
I'm
can sort of
pretty-
replace the
well,
sub with another
I
sub,
don't think-
and then replace a player with that sub, where does it all end? Suddenly, Team Secret is back at the major. No,
I mean, I don't know why have they not done that at previous Valve events? Why are they saying now, hey, let's change it? I mean, you're saying it, but surely for the player that was invited
Well,
in
I
that
think-
roster to then be told by his
I think the overall
organisation, we
notion
don't want you to
of
play.
the majors and TI has always been, let's supply a tournament with the highest level of competition possible, right? But they, at the same time, they wanted to protect player rights. And now they've realized that they didn't necessarily provide the highest level of competition if they forbade, whatever that word, teams from changing their rosters for periods of 2 to 3 months, because there might be, lack of skill, sudden conflict within the team, lack of
I guess that makes
motivation,
sense.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess.
You
So
know,
you're saying they brought that in
When the invite goes out,
because of the roster
there's
lock.
2 months left for the event, right?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff can happen in the world of Dota within a team in 2 months. So throughout that time, I think a lot of teams in previous events, and certainly for the future as well, would have wished to replace one of their players.
So do you think it's right or no?
I think it's right.
You do think so, just because the whole
I just
error
think it
thing too?
needs more specification,
Yeah.
more clarification,
Yes.
no room for interpretation.
What about for Rappi though? Like
Fair
this
enough.
guy suddenly doesn't get to play in a
Tough luck,
major.
be better.
What?
No, but
That's
he
not-
didn't even
I
get
think
he didn't even get a
that's
chance to
BS.
play the qualifiers. Like if he'd known he was
Yeah,
going to be
no.
removed, he could have played qualifiers.
He could have
found a
played.
new
Yeah,
team.
that's the thing.
But it's a professional world, right? It's sometimes we can't all just hold hands and sing Kumbaya and be like, oh, we're all millionaires now because we had a Valve event.
I
Come
think
on.
it'd be very different if it was like a big name player being like removed from their team. Like let's say like a high profile player got removed right before the event for a sub,
No, I
and then
would've
they
loved
didn't
that
get a
even
chance to
more.
qualify.
What about during the event?
I think
What
players
about
have way too much power
you're
in the
at the
space at
major.
all.
No, yeah, but you can't do it during.
Are you sure?
I'll have a look now. I'm pretty sure the post says you can add one substitute player before.
Please have a look
the
on your
major.
ASUS phone.
Well, but if you have
Have
no,
a look
sure.
at my ASUS ROG.
Let's say you're a team. You have your substitute with you. You're at the major, so you're 6 players, and the first few games maybe they're group stages and they don't go very well. Swap in the
Swap 'em in.
substitute. Is that allowed?
I don't know. I don't think so, right?
Wouldn't that be
I'm
a
not
little
sure.
bit weird?
We'll find
Also,
out.
can you then also like, hey, we're planning on doing this strat right now that this player would fit in more to.
No, I wish for that to happen in the future.
That's the League of
so
Legends
to
way.
answer one
That
of
is the
your
Legends
to
way.
answer one of your queries, once locked to the Boston Major roster, the substitute cannot be changed
Cannot
with a
be
new
changed.
player.
Yeah. So you
So
can't
you
have
can't
six.
do
You
the
can't have a
thing-
6-man roster.
No, you have this one substitute.
Well,
you
you
can't
can.
change it like you said.
Or you can lock it once.
Well, you can only once you
only
lock it, it's
one
locked.
person in.
Yeah, but then
and then
there's
you can't
6
change it.
players still.
Okay.
But it's still your substitute, so you can still.
No, each team. I see what you're saying.
I actually really like how
I see
in
what-
like League you can have a 6-man roster and then before a
Oh,
match
yeah.
choose which
No,
player you have playing a
World's
match.
best team, SK Telecom, did that
Yeah,
during
they have
Worlds.
2 different junglers. Like
Yeah.
depending on their match, they put in a different jungle player. I think
Oh,
it's
you know
kinda
a lot
cool.
about League of Legends.
Yeah,
Judas. Someone take this title away from me.
Yeah.
No, but it's yeah,
good.
You're absolutely right, and I think that's where Dota should move as well as Counter-Strike for that matter. I think it's better to have substitutes and backup players.
Imagine if you're halfway through the tournament, your team's doing really badly. Let's say one of your carry players is having a really bad tournament, just choking. You're just like, look, dude, manager, coach, captain steps in, say, we're putting our sub in for you for the rest of the tournament. Sorry.
How do they decide payment, though, between the team? They just talk among
You can
themselves and
pay.
figure that out.
Contracts, you know, that's what contracts are for.
That's the least of it.
Yeah, I think the
I guess
issue is
so.
more whether it helps make the competition better. And
So
I
what
think
if
it does.
Rabbi doesn't play at all? It's just like, okay, he still gets 1/6. I think he'd be
Well,
okay
I
with
guess
that.
Well, that's
depends on
up
his
to-
contract with
I guess
That's up to the
Execration.
team,
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
don't know.
Yeah, that's up to the team.
That's the only reason where you would agree to your team playing with a substitute. I would imagine that you like. Okay.
Well, he has to agree.
no,
Yeah.
but he can just say no. I want to play.
But then they're not going to do well at all. Because the team's going to be, like, the whole team morale is going to be awful, aren't they? If the
but
players...
I guess
I'm
if
sure
it means he can get
don't
his
wanna play
prize
him.
money.
But then
he
everybody-
gets last place, he gets prize money, you know?
And if
And
he
then
doesn't,
everybody
yeah.
frowns upon him, though. But then everybody around in the scene will be like, look at this guy. He just, it's like,
Yeah.
that's so individually greedy. You're just screwing over like a bunch
Yeah,
of
so
people
no
for
one wanna
yourself.
play
Like
with
that'd be, you kill your career.
It's a
kind of,
really
in a way.
awkward position to be in, but you have to go the way that he's gone. You have to say, okay, I'll swap myself with
We like
3-4-3.
Ogre Magi.
Which one's the? Actually, they're both dumb.
Yeah, we're just like Ogre Magi. No, but I think this also leads back to another point we discussed backstage before going on as well. I think right now there's too much player control. Players simply have too much power in the space. You know, everything from complaining about how commentators act, and that's, you know, there's probably a lot of room for criticism to the commentators, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
To dropping out of tournaments. To this whole TI thing, and we feel bad for a player who suddenly missed out on his chance to play at this invited event where he's getting free money basically, hasn't done anything for it other than be in Valve's good graces of an invite. So it's just like, I'm not a big fan of the whole how far up on the pedestal players are at this point in time. I think, you know, I'm all for player rights obviously, but I just think they have way too much control right now.
But how do you change something like that?
Well,
I mean,
you strip
obviously there's different solutions for different
you
scenarios.
professionalize
But
the space, you strip away some of the power they have. I think DreamLeague
Contracts.
should have contractualized all the teams in participating and then, you know, taking them to court or forbid them for participating in future events, stuff like that.
Fine
you know,
them?
yes, do some sort of sanction against these players so they don't just sign up and be like, oh, if something better comes along, we'll just, whatever, screw you guys over. Because, you know, there's sponsors involved, there's viewers involved. So there's way too much at stake for 5 guys or 1 guy to just ruin it all.
yeah, I think that's do you agree, Gods, with that?
I agree. I mean, I think it. I mean, we
it's so
we
hard
ran
to
tournaments
disagree
over
with me.
BTS, and we've had teams. yeah.
Everyone wants to, but it's so
No, I'm
hard.
just thinking like, well, yeah, what's the direction to go? Whether it is like contracts with tournaments, whether it's organizations getting together, try work together. Like
I mean, it's where esports is moving as a whole,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You need to have contracts for everything. In every other part of the world, there's contracts for everything. There's no room for interpretation in anything.
Well, that's why in the Chinese scene they have Ace, which is for all the criticism Ace gets, it keeps teams like playing these tournaments. Like
In Korea, they have Kesper.
Kesper. Those scenes are really professional. The teams will play their matches. They're not pulling out of tournaments because that's just what's expected of them. There's a bunch of negative shit about Ace. They do all kinds of sketchy stuff as well, which a lot of people don't agree with. But they also make sure they maintain that professionalism at the same time.
Yeah, and whenever we hear about bad stuff coming out of China, like the contract with IG and stuff, at least there is a contract in place, right? So there's something to go back to, and it's taken to court. Sure, it can be a shit show whenever even though there's contracts in place, but at least there's something concrete that has dictated what was going to happen in this case and that case. Right now, you know, the only loser here is DreamLeague in the case of NP, and they'll continue to have these cases developed that could have been prevented through having contracts in place.
It's just ridiculous to me. All they had to do was play 4 matches. They had 4 games left,
4
I
more
think.
games. But I'm not sure if we can quickly jump ahead and look at the standings, how they were doing, so that, you know, we kind of mess up our flow here. But for people that aren't aware, NP did pull out of the league after having played 10 games. They were 3-7, and that means that they're just not looking good. They lost yesterday they lost 2 games in 4
Actually,
minutes.
they were already out because they lost to
Total.
they lost 2-0 to Alliance, who was also 7-7.
Yep.
So in a heads-up matchup, they would have actually not been able to finish in the top 4.
Yeah.
So they were already losers And then they just pulled out to seem as even bigger loser. Okay, I'm a bit salty. I'm sorry. You guys are going to Boston Major. You're not losers.
It's
just bad.
I can understand why they could do it, but it is definitely like they only had 4 more games. Does it really harm you that much to play those like? What do they have? Is it really conflicting with something?
You know,
that badly?
there was, you know, they had already won some sort of money, and they like this is a team that has by large and far been very good to their fans as well. You know, they've had a lot of fan interaction.
Yeah, it doesn't really kind of fit with the MP
They've
image.
taken donations from their fans
Yeah,
for
it reflects
their team
them,
house.
I think so.
Maybe it's just like they felt pretty demoralized in the games. Maybe they just don't want them to, like, you know, they're playing Lux and stuff. It makes it a lot harder for them. Maybe it was bringing down their morale. Like, I could understand why they could do it. I personally don't agree with it, but like I could see why they would want it to.
No, there's plenty of reasonings behind it, and ultimately, if there's no fail-safe, if there's no sanctions in place, I would also do it if there was 3 million on the line. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be some sort of saint either. I completely understand the decision to do it. That doesn't change the fact that it's wrong.
Yeah, and also NP, I mean, they did play yesterday, and they had some horrible games. And here's the highlights of a total of 40-minute gameplay for VP versus NP.
Through a charge as well onto the TA. No one could be in trouble here. Telekinesis back. They have the stolen blade fear from SVG doing a lot as well. He'll meld up. Look at the vision. That's the question. In fact, well, they're bringing Ramses in, so no one should be fine. He gets charged by 1437. They've already lost the Rubik. Now with the lasso onto Aoi. Omnic Slash coming through. Lots of bounce onto MS says he has the ult, so he'll be fine for the time being. A little too tanky for no one to deal with. Actually, oh, he looks for the side blades and he finds it. Ramses taunting him, kiting him up. Aoi, can he get a kill? He will with the Echo Saber, but loses his life as well. No one's surviving through it all.
And he's picked off without Aegis. Will survive just barely.
Yeah, he's gonna live. He's gonna live. He's gonna be okay. For the time being, cheese on the floor. Envy gets the cheese inside him. He'll be fine now. He looks to be in for the God Strand, but Ramsey's pods the BKB. A good brawl from MSS holding him back. Patch comes in with a 2-man stun. BKB popped by Envy. Aoi falling low. He's trying to man fight up against Ramsey, but Ramsey's doing too much damage at the moment. On this Luna with the Skadi. 4 dead. GG is called. And that fell apart very quickly for MP.
Yeah, that that was NP getting rolled over by Virtus Pro.
Yeah, definitely rough games.
They were very rough games, and I know we just saw the standings, but I just want to point out again of the standings. We can take a look at them again, because NP pulling out is not only, of course, Virtus Pro had already 2-0'd them, and as you mentioned, Alliance as well, but for Imperial, Liquid, and Vega, they had already played against NP as well, and they were 1-1, so they all got 1 extra point. And
it's good for
example, for Escape, they hadn't even faced them yet. Escape is now guaranteed through.
Are they?
Yeah,
nice.
They're guaranteed through to the playoffs. They're 9-3. They're doing incredibly well. Still have 1 series to play
Sim will be
later on. But
kind of a dream.
It's a dream. Another team that hasn't played them yet is Adfinum.
He was like, look, Jackie, just take your team out. We'll get us to land.
We still have a chance that we might not make it to DreamLeague. So if if you're feeling generous,
Illuminati.
maybe. It's possible.
Yeah, Adfinum haven't faced NP yet either, so they also get 2 extra points. And we're going to see a lot of Adfinum today as well. And they need some points. They had 4 losses so far.
But if they win all the games today, they're golden too.
Yeah, I think so.
More or less.
Yeah. More or less, yeah.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. They're going to face up against Vega and up against Team Liquid. Yeah. Now, as we always talk about it, I want to hear from our commentators if they're at least expecting anything different from Adfinum in terms of are we going to see 1-1s, guys? Come on,
Parker.
Give us some.
Liquid. You know, Adfinum Vega sounds like a draw kind of match.
Oh.
Vega.
Who would have thought?
I mean, speaking of draws, Vega, the king of draws. I don't think I've seen Vega have any 2-0-2
No,
results. I'm
like
probably 100% wrong on that, but all I can remember Vega doing is getting draws.
I think you're right.
So Vega very likely going to see the draw against Adfinum. Adfinum Liquid. Could be 2-0, 0-2. I don't really know which Liquid's showing up. I don't even know who their roster is right now.
I think
Yeah, we don't know who's playing for
I
Liquid,
think
do we?
Lil said it really good yesterday, though. Adfinum can beat anyone, and they can lose to anyone. Like sometimes they're on point, sometimes they're just shaky, and also who knows if they're recovered. Madara was very ill.
But that's been the case for almost any team throughout DreamLeague, right?
Yeah.
Everyone almost seems to go 1-1.
Can beat each other.
Yeah,
Except for a few.
It's very even in terms of competition. What do you think, OD? Both series 1-1? Or can you have some form of not 1-1-ish type of thing going on?
From the Liquid's performance, I'd probably say that was more likely to be the 2-0 to Adfinum.
To Adfinum, okay.
Yeah.
Over Vega.
I
If you were to say
I
one
want to know
series
who
of
Liquid's
2-0.
playing with. Is it GH? I mean, that's what we're. They didn't make any. Did they make any official word about that?
Nope.
Was it just the fact that they played with GH the other day? Everyone's like they're playing
It
with GH
was
now.
just
That's
the
all we
fact that
saw.
they played with GH and
Bulba
that
removed all
Bulba
the Liquid
removing the
tags.
tags on
It's
his
also just a
Twitter
fun
and stuff.
tournament, right? It's the Moondog thing, isn't it? Or what?
Yeah,
what they're
well,
playing?
it's like 10k prize pool.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Elimination
20K?
mode,
But
it's not like
essentially it's
CM
a-
mode.
It's like a fun.
Yeah, it's a
tournament.
fun tournament, right?
Yeah.
No,
So-
I'm not bashing on it. I think the idea and the concept is great.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
it's cool.
the
It's fun.
format's cool. Yeah.
It's definitely really fun for all the teams.
But it's also on at the same time as this, so for reference, it's absolutely awful. Watch this; it's much better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There
Yeah.
you go.
For all the Twitch
is.
viewers that are here, they're in the right place.
They are in the
This
right
is
place.
the happening tournament.
You're
this
in the right
afternoon.
place, guys.
Or they can just double view.
You two are not in the right place, by the way.
No.
Why not?
Because they need to sit on the chairs on the other side because they're actually going to commentate the first series. That would be if Steam's actually up, which we
Is
don't
it
know
up?
yet. We'll find out.
Well, the elite hackers were like, "Yeah, it's gonna be back now, way." So maybe it's back. That's
We'll
what they
find
said
out.
on Twitter, didn't
Those are the elite hackers.
it? The elite hackers. were
They're
like,
coming for
oh,
you.
we're
They
going
sound
to
like
let
they-
you have it back now. The kids have unhacked
So, like,
Steam.
it's
so
time.
they're right.
It's time to give it back to you.
Yeah.
At OD Pixel on Twitter, go after him
OD
next.
just ensure DDoS for the rest of the year.
There we go.
Let's say goodbye to our commentators and give Malk his own chair.
Oh,
Come
please.
on, guys. We'll have
Please let me
the
stay.
guest of the week
Don't go.
over just in case. Indeed, I was going to say, hey, Jacob, but you know, you're already here.
Hello.
Hello.
To Jacob and Fogged.
Jacob and Fogged, yes.
Jacob and Janis.
Yep.
Like, yeah, there you go.
It's good to be here. It's good to have my own chair now.
Yeah, I mean, I see Janis looking longingly at you, so like maybe you want to sit back there just.
We had a good thing going, but we do this off camera as well,
Oh,
so
okay.
we can have some
Yeah.
space between us for a little while.
Yeah, and don't worry, guys. The moment that the game starts,
For now.
there's some couches backstage. You do not want to see that.
No, I don't either. Get me out of here.
Okay, hey, Milk, you touched on that subject a little bit just now.
Mhm.
You mentioned caster critiques.
Yes.
And I want to just talk a little bit about that because it seems to be a topic that just keeps popping up. Everybody always mentions it somehow, never anything directed. Everybody's like nice and vague. How would you go about, if you're, let's say you're a Twitch viewer, or no, let's say you're a professional player again,
Mhm.
and you know, you listen to a commentary duo and you don't like it. What do you do?
Nothing. You know, then you bitch and whine about it to your teammates and
Yeah.
your friends, but you don't do. I don't think that the right approach is doing it publicly, but then again, I think everyone in this space are entertainers, both the players and the casters alike. They should do whatever they feel they need to do for their brand, for their career, and so forth. You know, if that's how you want to present yourself, be my guest. And I feel the same way with casters. They need to choose a style that they want to cast in. If a caster thinks that he should make a name of himself by being overly critical or downright inflammatory, you know, peace be with it. If there's users that want to, or viewers that want to see him do that, you know, there's obviously a market for how he proceeds to do so, and he should do what he finds best. I think a lot of the casters in Dota, though, are really open to criticism, but hate the fact that every 6 months or 12 months they're being called out because it's, you know, this returning cycle of criticism. We see several high-profile players that time after time always comes in and says, "Oh, you guys have no idea what you're talking about."
It's either no respect, it's they're being wrong. Am I missing out here on something else that often players don't like?
I think very often, the casters are wrong because most of them, especially the play-by-play casters, can't be expected to understand the game on such a deep level. And right now, I think, especially through the Boston qualifiers, there was a severe lack of high-level co-commentators. And I think that's a bigger issue than the casters simply being wrong in what they're calling out. They're calling out things that they, you know, they probably see things from a viewer perspective and not from a professional player perspective. So it's the 1% that understands that, oh, this was wrong, and the 99 other percent would probably see it the same way the caster would, and it doesn't really matter all that much.
But
you know?
I don't know. I'm like pretty torn about it because like I can understand both ways, and because also people say like, all right, this guy's being very vague. It's like, who are they talking to? Who are they directing it? We'd really appreciate it more if, you know, I've read where people are like, oh, this guy writes a whole blog and he never targets like anyone specifically. And people are like, hey, we'd really appreciate it if you know, who are you talking to and stuff like that. But at the same time, would people really appreciate that? It's just like someone just says like, this person blank is absolute garbage. This is you know,
I think all the casters always do the whole, we want to be contacted in private about it. We don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah, and obviously the players won't respect that because they've just been called out on a stream in front of thousands. So why can't they tweet out publicly, you know, I think you did a bad job as well. You know, I find the whole thing fair game in all aspects, because it's again, it's the game of entertainment all the way around. You know, it's sports, it's entertainment. However people want to, you know, act, fine, do so, but just understand that there's repercussions to everything you do in life.
Criticism is, I mean, people take criticism too harshly too.
Oh yeah,
criticism is not like a judge of your character. It's not like someone puts this and it's just like, oh, you're crap because all these things. It's like sometimes it's just one specific time. It's like you really messed up and I want to call you out on it.
It's also, like, you know, these players
you have to think about it that way.
Know that all the casters respect them immensely.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way that none of these casters, like each and every one of these casters understands that these players are the very best in the world. They're among the top 100 players in the world.
They don't intentionally...
No, they don't intentionally throw them under the bus or anything. It's just for the sake of entertainment, because the games aren't really fun if everyone is just these robots that do everything well as well. You know, it's fun to call out Jacob because he dies 20 times in a game and he sucks ass. That shit's funny. And that's, you know, that's perfectly fine, I think. It's fair game.
So, public shaming, but then with names mentioned, because then you actually know who to target. Are you saying that that's not a no? That
I mean, I don't know how to really.
Okay, so let's say someone has a complaint or someone, you know, has feedback regarding your commentary. How would you like that?
I'd like constructive. I don't want someone to just say like you're shit. You know,
no,
that's like,
no. Okay.
But you'd also like to be contacted on Skype rather than have them tweet it out, right?
I personally wouldn't. I don't really care too much. Like, if someone really wanted to say it to me, like it's okay. I would understand it. I'm not really like that thin-skinned. I can understand if I made a huge mistake and I look at it and I'm like, wow, I made a huge mistake. Then I would be like, okay, I did that. I'm sorry. I was out of myself or something like just distracted me or something, because usually at these points, like you're not really, if you're like really like up high tier, like doing these things, you shouldn't really be making these mistakes that often. It's just like a once in a while thing, you know, like, so it's like, if you're going to get called on like for something like that, it's okay, but not just like someone just straight up flaming you. It's just like, if they tell you like, oh, you made this mistake and you're like, wow, I did that. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But if you do it like recurring over and over and over, then, you know, you can understand why somebody.
But I think it's also blown out of proportion, right? I think, as you were saying, some of the players should grow thicker skin. I think the casters should too. I think they should just be like, whatever. You know, some of the most popular players in our scene is popular because we know they have a very high level of skill, but they also make these dumbass mistakes. You know, Eternal Envy, known for putting out some of the highest level plays that we've ever seen. You know, his Ember Spirit at the Frankfurt Major still rings clear to me as some of the best Dota I've ever seen. Yeah. And at the same time, he does some you know, very questionable things. You know, some funny stuff.
Not carrying teleport scrolls.
And it's funny and it's entertaining. And he's built a brand on his whole, you know,
the balance between success and clowny.
And that's fine. And at the same time, you know, I can understand why up-and-coming casters probably have a hard time receiving criticism, because it'll make and break their career. Yeah. Whereas players are, you know, it doesn't really matter what a caster says about you. You'll still have a job. Yeah,
you still play good. So yeah.
I do think, like, overall though, casters need, like, from time to time though, you can hear it's like they don't. I don't really know how to word it, but they don't look at it like so objectively. It's like you have to be, when you're casting and stuff, you're looking and you're seeing everything. You can't just like be like, oh, this guy should have known this or something like that. You have to be very objective with how you're watching, because you have everything. You have all the tools to be able to do it. The players don't have all that. So sometimes I know people choose like the wrong wording, but sometimes when they're choosing the wrong wording, it's not really what they mean, but it comes off that way. You know?
Yeah, like, but I don't think it's the caster's job to be overly analytical. I think they just need to put on a show, and I think they do the best that they can. And I think there's plenty of people who would want to stand in their place if they weren't doing a good job. So whether or not we have the highest level of casters right now, I'm not gonna
You're not going to name a flame right now? No?
No, I think we have some great casters in our space. I think all across esports, there's some great casters. I think Dota's been blessed from day one with some very entertaining casters that keeps taking turns on being some of the very best in the space we have. Toby had a long reign where he was great. LD and Gods picked up. Then OD Pixels came in from nowhere. There's so many good people. Blitz and Cap last year was an amazing duo.
Yeah.
I think we should be very happy with everything we got, and then occasionally there's going to be a little hiccup, but it's not a big deal.
Everyone has their style,
everyone has their style. So a lot of people
well.
loved Cap and Blitz because they were very analytical and they were good at delivering facts and a deeper level of understanding of the game. And at the same time, there was a huge viewership that preferred Toby because he was able to articulate Black Hole in a funny way. And that's, different people, different levels of entertainment. I
think, like you're saying too, with like Cap and Blitz, they're very emotional. Both of them, when you're seeing them playing, like you can see Blitz is kind of like shaking this chair. He's like, "Oh my God, the play!" and like Cap's just screaming. And
I mean, that's
it's
what
like a
you
style that you want.
Personally,
like,
that's what I think is the most entertaining, right? So I'd rather have someone who makes mistakes in how he judges whether a player what he does is right or wrong.
Yeah.
But if he puts emotion into it, that'll make it more entertaining for me to watch.
It doesn't matter if he's right or wrong, yeah.
Well, of course it matters.
It matters, but it matters less.
I think the preference is that there's emotions in the game, and he sells me the product right, rather than making it stale and boring. Oh, this guy just made another creep kill. Interesting. Very well done. He did the right choice in purchasing the Iron Talon. Now he goes to the jungle. No one.
He missed the stack. He should have stacked both instead of just one.
Yes, if he had been 1 second sooner, it would have been great.
Guys, as you might know, Steam has been having some issues today. And still has.
Oh no.
Yeah. So.
But Ad Finum.
But Ad Finum, we could talk about Ad Finum. We could talk about anything we want to.
I mean, no, this is like their most important day, right? This is make or break for them today. If they win all their games, they're in. If they lose most of their games, they're out.
Yeah.
So
it's that simple. And Ad Finum, known for playing entertaining Dota all round.
Yep. Very team fight, hectic. Everybody likes to see that. They are disastrous sometimes in the laning phase for sure, and then other times they're all over the place, like Spartan and maybe next time walking up the hill, like during the qualifiers, walking up, killing the courier in the base, and then dying. Like,
that was
come on,
crazy.
That's like crazy things to watch and just super entertaining. So those guys are definitely, I mean, we've said it all along. They're super entertaining to watch, and they're super entertaining people, which people are going to get to see. Which
I think we've seen that the past month they've been one of the best 25-minute mark teams.
Yeah.
Even if they're behind, as you were saying, in early stages of the game, they could do some disastrous stuff. But at 25 minutes, they just seem to position themselves much better than any other team and take the fights that they need to, and then swing the game back in their favor.
Yeah, I think that is what Imperial did really well when they played against them on Tuesday.
They never allowed them to.
They never allowed them to get to 25 minutes in a decent enough shape to actually try to play their lineup. So, but they're going to play against Team Vega today. Vega is indeed the tie team, because I believe they have mostly ties in the ASUS ROG DreamLeague today. How do you think they'll fare in this one, Jacob?
I think Vega has more on the line in the sense that they don't have as much to play for outside of DreamLeague, so they need to, put in an effort and make sure that they are doing really well here, or wait 2 months until the inevitable CIS roster shuffle happens, but no one wants to do that, right?
No.
So it's sort of career decisive for them for the next 2 months, whether they win or lose today and the rest of their games. So I think there's a lot at stake for them, whereas Ad Finum is more, they're relaxed.
I mean, they can still learn a lot. Like these guys, it's still very young teams, so they can learn. Like, it's like, are we just not meshing well together? Do we still need more time? This is where they get to see it. So I want to see them trying their hardest. I mean, Ad Finum, I feel like we've seen them maybe being a little bit, I want to say a little lazy, just because they made it to Boston. Like they want to do DreamLeague, they want to do well, but it's not the same for them. Like you're saying as Vega, like Vega
the pressure is not there as much
anymore.
Yeah, Ad Finum is just running the cookie cutters, right? They do the tried and tested strategies. If it doesn't work out,
try some new stuff maybe, because this is the place to try for them. You're like,
hey, we've seen all their pick phases have been almost identical to what they did throughout the Boston Major.
Yeah.
No visible upsets or funny heroes being pulled out.
True. We are also going to see Team Liquid today. But before that, when we are actually in the game, you guys can vote for your MVP. And we have 5 selected for you guys. For the first series, we have As MVP 1, Madara. MVP 2 is Skylark. Maybe next time as MVP 3. And then of Team Vega, Sioma the Slayer. MVP 4 and Spartan. Is that Spartan? It is Spartan.
It is Spartan.
That's 4 out Finland players?
Bias.
I don't remember doing that.
Well,
Shiva.
now we have it.
Bias.
Oh.
That's because I'm here, right? It just naturally biases toward them a bit.
Sioma is the only one? No, we had Mag in there as well, I think.
Well,
Oh, it is Mag.
Oh, it just
It is
changed.
Mag.
Oh, I'm just confused.
No one saw that.
No one
Nobody
saw
saw
it.
that.
It was Mag all along.
It was Mag all
MVP
along.
5. There you go. So yeah, so you can vote, but only when the game starts. So the lines are not yet open.
And it's for the whole. It's for both games.
It's for the
not
whole
just for the one
series.
game,
It's for
yes.
the whole 2-game series. So keep that in mind. And the reason why we put Sioma in there is that he has been such an instrumental player whenever the disruptor is picked, which is picked very often, and he is just the playmaker of the team together with Mag on the off lane. So hopefully people don't only go for the popularity vote.
I think it's between 3 and 4, maybe next time, and Seema, I think are the two. If we went back to the day before yesterday where Finland played, maybe next time was easily the MVP. I think
he's very strong player. Him and Spartan are very interesting because they split farm. It's like there's no concrete 4 or 5 between the two of them. The two of them, it's mostly Spartan, I guess, on the 5 because he plays like the Wisps, sometimes the Shadow Demons, but they switch between heroes all the time too. It's like, oh, we got Wisp, Spartan, you're on that. If we have Shadow Demon as well,
I'm glad you bring that up. Dota's progressed to a place where the lines between 4 and 5 is really, really washed out.
Yeah.
A lot of people keep referring to Jerax when he was on Liquid as a 4-position player, when in reality
He was the 5.
he was
Jerax
a 5.
was the 5.
You know, by all means, his gold intake was that of a 5, and Kuro took the farm, and I think that's it's not necessarily an important distinction to make, but it's still a misconception from the community that Jerax was playing a 4-position.
Yeah, like if you looked, Jerax, I can't really say when I saw Jerax hitting creeps that often.
He was making the plays.
Jerax just runs at people. Like he would be like, okay, I'm just running at mid, running at top, okay, pulling the supports top, okay, supports are top, I'm out of here.
I think a lot of it was because of the meta back then, was also the other 4 positions that we saw on the other teams. Jerax played the similar heroes. You know, we see Crit on OG, typically the 4 position. Played almost the same heroes as Jerax, the Earth Spirit and Wisp and stuff like that.
Yeah, Tusk when it was in Relic, when it was out.
Tusk as well. And Fly would play the clear 5 with the Shadow Priest and Keep of the Light.
Yeah.
But there was a difference in who got farm and gold in the 2 lineups. But because of the heroes being identical, a lot of people misconstrued it as Jerax being a 4 position.
Yeah, for sure.
Should be a different way to describe them maybe then at some point. Just a support player.
Yeah, just call them support. I think you know, the whole
change.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 came from China, and I think it's moved to a point where it's not really that important because it was made in regards to who had farm priority.
Yeah, and even the 1 and the 2 gets swapped around now.
Yeah,
by
oftentimes
teams.
you'll even see a 3 being the number 2 on the net worth.
And then in Jacob's case, you see the 9. What? Farm priority worth, you know?
Oh, so it's only in games that you're in that
What?
that there's a 10.
I don't know. I don't play. Washed up over here.
I've been washed up significantly longer than you.
Guys, it started out with trying to flame each other,
And then we flame ourselves.
I am much worse than Fought, though. I think everyone can agree to that.
Wow.
I can.
Even Fought.
Thanks, man.
That doesn't mean much.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier CIS shuffle scene as like for Vega, 2 months from now. I believe there's a Western shuffle-esque going on slightly with Bulba not being on Team Liquid anymore. So we will have Team Liquid playing today against that Finland. That will be our second series. But everybody saw that Bulba took away his Team Liquid tag from his Twitter, and we saw Team Liquid play yesterday already with a new player. Is that too soon? Do you agree with the decision? Let's talk a little bit about that change.
I mean, it doesn't take long to realize whether a player is a fit or not. It's interesting with the tale of Sam continuing like this. I think every professional player in the space respects Sam a lot, especially for his mind.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has as deep an understanding and strategic mind as Sam does. This is a guy who's really devoted all of his thinking capabilities to understanding the game for a long time now, and does so on a very high level. You know, when EG won TI, a lot of it had to do with the fact that Sam was their coach.
Yeah.
And a lot of team, if used properly, I think Sam could benefit a lot of teams. But at the same time, if you ignore his opinions and stuff like that, he's not gonna be that excellent fit for your lineup, because there are, in cases, better mechanical players, and he might have a distinct play style that doesn't necessarily suit all lineups. So it's just, you know, it's an unfortunate series of events where Sam has been on some lineups that has just failed miserably in accordance to their expectations.
Do you think it has anything to do with him being like American and the rest of them are not American?
Not particularly, no. I don't think that's necessarily a big issue. It might be, but knowing Sam, I think he's a lot of the old school players are growing up, you know, they're becoming adults instead of being these stupid teenagers that Sam by all means used to be. I did too. Misery is another example. And he's grown up to be much easier to be around, and I think most players and teams can easily be around, and he can benefit their atmosphere. I think he's not a hothead, and he's a great guy. So I think he's just been very unfortunate.
And in terms of Team Liquid, like, does that fix their issues? The issues that we saw appear during the qualifier for the Boston Major. Obviously, Liquid didn't make it through.
Mm-hmm.
It was still, I mean, the level was very high, the level of Dota that we saw played during the playoffs, and even Team Liquid was doing really well. But does removing or switching out Woba, does that, you think, fix anything? Because also Matuma Man seems to have moved to a support position with the guy that they were using yesterday in their games, stand-in GH.
I mean, it all depends on what the fix is, right?
Yeah.
I think from what I've been told, the reason that the Liquid of previous 2016, the successful version of them, a lot of their shot calling came from Jerex
in the early game.
Yeah.
And then Fader taking over as soon as he knew when his hero's strengths peaked.
Yeah.
And suddenly you remove those two players that are so integral to the whole playstyle of the team. So where Kuro is the captain, he may not have been the shot caller. I can't say for sure. This is just some of the things that I've heard and been told.
Fair enough.
So until they re-establish some of those lines of communication, I think they'll continue to fail.
I think it's I mean I think it's just a really hard subject to really know, because we never
don't know
really know exactly
what's
what's going on. We don't know if
yeah.
maybe there was some communication that just went wrong, maybe something drastic went wrong inside of some of the games and they got in arguments or something. It's really hard to say just from an outside perspective, to be fair. But I was going to say, I'm really curious to see what Liquid actually does today. Is Matu going to be 100% support every single game now or not? Or are they going to be switching between Kuroki and him still? Or
and is it even going to be GH standing in?
GH there? Maybe, I mean, they're maybe still trying stuff. Who knows? It's really up to them what they want to do. And we can't really say anything until we see what they do.
And it normally takes a while for someone to change roles, especially something as substantial from a 1 to a 5.
Yeah.
You know,
yes.
That's a big role change. In the past, we've seen a lot of people move to the 3 position.
Moving 1 or 2 positions is usually what you can't see. But moving all the way 4 positions, it's a whole mentality change as well. You have to. You're not a late gamer. You're an early game. It really changes the way you entirely look at the game.
Oh yeah, definitely. The only players we've seen do so successfully in recent history, I think, is Sai. Did it from.
He went
4.
from support to offlane though, not necessarily to mid.
Kuroki did it too for a bit with Secret. He was playing the 4 and then he played the 1 with Secret.
But Kuroki in his past, he has played a lot of different roles.
Well, I think most players know how to play carry if they need to, right?
Yeah.
But when you get to a high level like this, the elite level, playing 3 positions and supports takes a lot. And the support role especially is, it's a joint effort.
Yeah.
It's you have to be united with the team and especially your other support body. So that in itself is a lot to learn from someone who's been used to just being a core and standing on his lane farming or whatnot. Misery also had a successful change, but it took a while. And this is from a player that's been around the longest, right? Or been a part of most of the important tournaments throughout. He went to the 3 position for Secret. For the first month or 2, that wasn't actually very successful. But then he turned in to be this beast of a man, and they won the Shanghai Major largely on some great performances of his. And now he's back on the 4 position, goes 2nd place in TI, right? So it's doable, but it takes time.
It's tough. It is. It's absolutely tough. So.
We are still waiting for Steam to stop causing issues for the players for logging in, and that gives me some time to talk to you about
The one and only.
The one and only.
The magnificent.
The ROG Strix. That is the laptop that you're looking at right now. But I call it a laptop. It's not actually a laptop. It's a compact gaming PC because in it is a full voltage i7, which you normally don't find in a laptop. You normally find them only on the PC with mobile adjustments done in the laptop. But it's actually a full core, full voltage i7. And there's also a GTX 1060 in there, which is another component that normally you'd only find in a normal desktop PC, but they managed to somehow squish it into that
Not even in
little
my desktop
box.
PC.
Me either.
No, mine neither.
This beast is better than what I'm sitting at home.
Yeah, actually, for me, probably too.
Much better than my desktop.
That's very depressing, guys.
That explains your play. Oh, we're back at it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't.
But make sure to check it out. That is a GL702 VM, by the way, the one that you were just looking at right there. Also, while you're just sitting here waiting for the games to start, you can also follow us on Twitter, DreamLeague, and follow us for some behind-the-scenes footage on Snapchat, DreamLeague. And if you missed anything of the last weeks. This is already week 4, guys. Week 4 of league play for the ASUS ROG DreamLeague. So we've had multiple matches, a lot of red buttons, pre-shows and everything. You can find that on YouTube. And that is also DreamLeague. Who would have thought? And yeah, the game still hasn't started yet, guys, as we are still waiting for some of the players to get
It's so typically Scandinavian. Production says we can talk about the weather. It's something we just do a lot in Scandinavia because we're so reserved. Unless we have some alcohol, we're like...
You got a message saying that you can talk about the weather?
I think so. I think she said
I heard it.
Oh, yeah.
I heard it
She made sure that she didn't talk to me.
It's just so typically Scandinavian.
No,
Unless
it's
we're
Dutch
drunk,
too.
that's all we talk about.
You know how in America, you know, people are... Like you say, hey, how are you doing? And you don't really care about the answer because you know it's
I
an
always
opening.
answer.
Everyone just says, hey, how you doing?
Exactly.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, because
There's
you
no
know,
response.
and nobody cares about what you answer.
They look so oddly at me when I didn't answer, and they're like, I don't give a fuck.
But if you would open like that in the Netherlands, you know, people would say, well, you know, my cat just died, and it didn't. Don't worry, it didn't. But you know, you would actually get like a heartfelt story about how are you doing.
Because it's always bad things happening to people. No one's ever happy.
No, but if you in the Netherlands, the equivalent of hey, how are you doing is hey, nice weather, right? It's like you always talk about the weather as the point.
I guess. I mean, in New York, people kind of do that too.
It's because we have such changing weather.
That is true too. There's a lot of places in the U.S. that don't have a lot of changing weather.
Well, yeah, New York does.
Yeah, New York does.
New York does it. It's been like I think, like oh god, I don't know Celsius to whatever Europe things are, but. What is this?
This is like filler material. I didn't even press the red button.
No, we didn't. You guys want to play Jenga?
I mean, why not, right? I mean, are you any good at this? Are you the best?
I promise I won't cheat this time.
You cheated. You didn't cheat last time.
No, I didn't cheat.
I've probably played it once or twice in my life, but I'm probably the best, honestly.
Okay, you gotta take some time to... Oh, wait, help me put this together then.
Oh no, this is like a balance act. I'm the worst at this.
Yeah, dude, this is Jenga. Wait, why are there so many?
Because we have to build the tower, dude.
But why are there 6 rows of each?
There's not.
Isn't there supposed to be 3?
Yeah,
Jenga's
I'm
3 by
doing 3.
3s.
I'm doing 3. I'm building it right here. Look at me building it.
Oh, those are 3s. Oh, I thought it was split in half. Okay, I'm stupid.
No argument there.
No argument there. But the weather, yeah. It's pretty cold outside.
It's pretty cold.
Dark.
It snowed yesterday.
It gets dark at like 3.
It snowed yesterday.
Yeah.
That was amazing for me.
Yeah, and for someone like me I got up at 6 a.m. to have this magnificent breakfast at my hotel. Then I went back to sleep to then sleep until 30 minutes before they closed the breakfast to then eat again. And then I slept all through the afternoon. Then I woke up and it was dark. I was like, what?
It's dark and then it's dark again.
Second breakfast is the best.
I've not seen daylight today.
So can we also talk about how Owen tried to make me jump inside of a river yesterday? He tried to bet me $1,000 to jump in and fully submerge myself in the freezing cold.
If you swam all the way to the restaurant.
In which case, by the way, that would have been 5-minute swim at least. And in this weather, it's supposed to be that you can swim for like 60 seconds and then you die.
I don't know exactly what it is. It's like hypothermia, but yeah, that would have been
something like that.
It would have been even payout. The $1,000 thing was definitely worth it.
Think
I should
of your
have
family.
done it.
You could have really made a difference from what you do now. I think you should have done it. It'd be well worth the sacrifice. I'm sorry, honest.
You're just mean. You've changed, Jacob.
Not really.
Not really. No. You male misogynist.
Yeah, you can just repeat every time the thing that the fan yesterday said to him.
The fan just ripping you apart. You're speaking truths.
He wasn't rude about it.
This is. I think last time I played Jenga it was like maybe I was just smaller.
I'll go
and it just
last
looked
in
bigger.
hopes of someone messing up from the get-go.
You always have to pull the side ones out. You can't push out the middle. That's the
What?
That's the pansy move.
I'm doing the pansy move. Sorry.
What? No. Oh, look what we have on camera too. This is lovely. Look at Owen.
Okay, here we
Always being
go.
the
I'll
best.
go first.
I go big, I go home. I
You
take
can't
one
do
of
the
the bottom
top
ones.
too, right?
Yeah,
Obviously,
that
Oh, we
because
need to
that
make
would
this
be
last
reason.
until Steam is back up, right? So
Yeah,
I can't just
yeah.
ruin it from the get-go.
So this is gonna take a while.
Well, depending on when Steam's back
I
up,
mean,
I
so
So
can
this
see
is
the
gonna
lobby
take a
here.
while.
Do
Yeah,
you
could
want
be.
me to play or not?
I'll go second. You said right?
Go ahead.
You just gotta force it out.
Oh, are you really gonna do that one?
You just gotta.
All right.
Gotta make it difficult from the start.
We gotta be careful about sitting down because this whole platform thingy is kind of moving.
Are there tricks in this
Is
or
it?
what?
Yeah, well, there's slight differences in sizes of the things. So some come out easier than others. That's the
Can
whole.
I feel them all? Is that allowed?
Normally, it's not.
You always can feel them
I
all.
like to feel the merchandise before I make a decision. Oh my god, they're all stuck.
I picked a good one.
Stop.
You're gonna lose right away.
Fuck
It's gonna
off.
fall.
Don't make it fall
It's
down.
actually gonna fall.
Fuck off.
Damn it. You got nervous.
I did. Everything was so
Everything's moving so
stuck in
much.
place.
I'm going for the bottom.
She did the. Ooh.
That. Jesus. It's gonna fall.
Yeah, you're done. You're done, Shiva.
We're not even gonna do one. Not even gonna do
my
one
god,
layer.
you are so wrecked.
No! Can I choose a
You're
different
manipulating the Jenga.
one? That's okay as long as it doesn't fall. Can I choose a different one now?
You just leave it like that.
The rules are
She's
there.
actually leaving.
There are no rules.
There are no rules. Fair enough. All right, well. I'm not touching. If it falls over, okay. All right, you're stomping. I feel it.
That's not me.
What? You guys are cheating though. Didn't you just say you can't? Oh, the rules
Yeah,
are
but
there.
you
are no
did
rules.
it
The
also.
rules are, there are no rules.
All right.
Yeah, Jacob lost.
I actually lost. This looks like a.
Every step you take is just, it's a disaster.
I take this.
Oh, you're good. Watch your steps.
Yeah,
Man, that was easy actually. Oh,
that was easy. Famous last word.
Oh, it's totally falling. Oh God.
Oh,
So I
Jan
just
Jan.
got the word that you know the game is soon starting, but at the same time, I'm a competitive person, so and I already cheated once, so I don't want to intentionally make it lose. But we were also in the draft.